The aircraft door sealed shut with a heavy thunk that echoed through the cabin. Naomi Grant adjusted her Hermes scarf, settled into seat 2A, and pulled out her tablet. First class was nearly empty. Just her, an elderly couple 3 rows back, and a businessman already asleep across the aisle. She had barely opened her email when a shadow fell across her seat. "Excuse me, ma'am." The voice was sharp, clipped. "I need to see your boarding pass." Naomi looked up. A flight attendant stood in the aisle, arms crossed, lips pressed into a thin line. Her name tag read Karen Hollis, lead flight attendant. Behind her, 2 more crew members hovered, watching. Of course. Naomi reached into her purse, fingers closing around the crisp paper. She handed it over with a polite smile. Karen barely glanced at it. "This must be a mistake. This seat is reserved for our premium passengers." The words hung in the air like smoke. Naomi felt her spine straighten, felt that old, familiar heat rising in her chest. But her voice stayed level, controlled. "That boarding pass is correct. Seat RA. First class. My name is Naomi Grant. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to move to economy. Now." Karen's eyes swept over Naomi's jeans and blazer, her natural hair pulled back in a sleek bun. The judgment was written all over her face. The businessman across the aisle stirred, opened one eye. The elderly couple had stopped talking. The cabin had gone silent except for the low hum of the engines. "I'm not moving." Naomi's voice dropped lower, steadier. "I paid for this seat. I'm staying in this seat." Karen's face flushed red. She snapped her fingers at the other attendants. "We have a situation here. Call security." "That won't be necessary." Naomi pulled out her phone, began scrolling through files. "What you need to do is check your passenger manifest. Verify my ticket. Then apologize." "I don't need to verify anything." Karen leaned down, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "I can see exactly what's happening here. Someone upgraded you as a prank, or you're trying to scam your way into first class. Either way, you need to leave. Now." A younger flight attendant, a black woman with kind eyes whose tag read Maya Banks, stepped forward. "Karen, maybe we should just check the system first. I can run back to the gate and I didn't ask for your opinion, Maya." Karen didn't even look at her. "Go prep the cabin for departure." Maya's jaw tightened, but she didn't move. She pulled out her own tablet instead, fingers flying across the screen. Her eyes went wide. "Karen, her ticket is valid. More than valid. She's listed as, give me that." Karen snatched the tablet away. Her eyes scanned the screen once, twice. The color drained from her face. This doesn't make sense." "What doesn't make sense?" Naomi stood up now, her 5'9" frame drawing level with Karen's eyes. "That a black woman can afford first class. That I belong here. Or that you just made the worst mistake of your career." The cabin door opened again. 2 security officers stepped through, hands on their belts. Behind them, the captain emerged from the cockpit, his silver hair gleaming under the cabin lights. "What's the problem here?" The captain's voice boomed through the space. "We're 10 minutes past departure time." Karen stumbled over her words. "Captain Reeves, this passenger, her ticket seemed fraudulent, and she refused to. My ticket is perfectly legitimate, Captain." Naomi's voice cut through the stammering like a blade. "What's fraudulent is the treatment I've received from your crew. What's fraudulent is being racially profiled in a seat I paid $12,000 for." Captain Reeves froze. His eyes darted between Naomi and Karen. "Ma'am, I'm sure this is just a misunderstanding. If we could all just, no." The word rang out clear and final. "No more misunderstandings. No more excuses." Naomi pulled a leather folder from her bag, extracted a document. "Captain Reeves, do you recognize the name Grant Industries?" His face went pale. Of course. They just acquired controlling interest in several major airlines, including Summit Air. This airline. Naomi let the words sink in. Let them settle like stones in water. As of 9 days ago, I own 51% of this company. Which makes me your boss. And hers. And everyone else on this aircraft. The silence was deafening. Karen's hands trembled. The tablet slipped from her fingers, clattered to the floor. The security officers stepped back, suddenly uncertain. Maya covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes glistening. The businessman across the aisle sat up straight, phone out, recording. The elderly couple leaned forward in their seats. Every eye in first class was fixed on Naomi. I didn't want to reveal this. Naomi's voice softened, but the steel underneath remained. I was flying to our headquarters for an integration meeting. I wanted to experience this airline as a regular passenger. See what needed improvement. Well, she looked directly at Karen. I found it. Karen's voice came out as a whisper. Ms. Grant, I didn't know. If I had known, that's exactly the problem. Naomi stepped into the aisle, her presence commanding every inch of space. You didn't know. You didn't care to know. You saw a black woman in first class and assumed I didn't belong. You humiliated me. You called security on me. You refused to do the basic job of checking facts before making accusations. She turned to address the entire crew now, her voice rising. How many others? How many other passengers have you treated this way? How many people have you removed from seats they paid for because they didn't match your idea of what wealth looks like? Karen was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, Ms. Grant. I have 2 kids. I need this job. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But please. You made a choice. Naomi's voice was firm but not cruel. Choices have consequences. Captain Reeves, I'm terminating Ms. Hollis's employment, effective immediately. Her severance will be standard, nothing more. She can collect her things and leave the aircraft. Captain Reeves nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am. But that's not all. Naomi looked at the other 2 attendants who had stood silent while Karen attacked her. You too. You watched this happen. You said nothing. You're terminated as well. Off the plane. One of them started to protest, but Naomi held up her hand. I won't debate this. You had a choice. You chose silence. That's complicity. Maya stepped forward, her voice shaking. Ms. Grant, I tried to stop it. I checked the system. I spoke up. I know. Naomi's expression softened. Maya Banks, correct? Yes, ma'am. How long have you worked for Summit Air? 3 years. I just made lead attendant last month, but... She glanced at Karen being escorted off the plane by security. I guess there's an opening now. There is. Naomi extended her hand. Maya shook it, her grip firm despite her trembling. You're promoted. Head flight attendant for this route. Effective immediately. Your salary doubles as of today. Maya's eyes went wide. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Ms. Grant, thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me. You earned it. You did the right thing when it was hard. That's the kind of person I want leading my crews. Naomi raised her voice so everyone could hear. That's the kind of company I'm building. She turned to face the remaining passengers, the phone still recording, the elderly couple clutching each other's hands. What happened here today happens every day. In airports, in restaurants, in boardrooms, in schools. People are judged by their skin before their character. Dismissed before they're heard. Excluded before they're known. Her voice grew stronger, filled with conviction. I could have stayed quiet. Could have pulled rank immediately, avoided the confrontation. But then nothing changes. Then the next person who looks like me, who doesn't have my resources or my power, they get thrown off this plane. They get humiliated. They get treated as less than human. She looked directly at the businessman's camera. I want this recorded. I want people to see what happened here. Not for revenge. For accountability. For change. Because silence protects the system. Speaking up breaks it. Captain Reeves cleared his throat. Ms. Grant, what would you like me to do? We're significantly delayed. The crew is fine. Maya can handle this flight with 2 attendants. Pull 2 from the economy cabin if needed. Promote them. Give them raises. Reward people who do good work. Naomi sat back down in seat 2A, smoothed her blazer. And Captain, add mandatory bias training for every employee. Every single one. Including executives. Including me. We're going to build an airline where everyone feels welcome. Where everyone belongs. She looked up at him, her eyes blazing with purpose. Starting today, Summit Air becomes the standard. Not just for service. For justice. For dignity. For seeing people as people. Captain Reeves saluted. Actually saluted. Yes, ma'am. It would be my honor. As he returned to the cockpit, as Maya rushed to prepare the cabin with tears of joy still streaming down her face, as the engines roared to life beneath them, Naomi allowed herself a small smile. She hadn't wanted this fight. Hadn't wanted to reveal her identity, to make a scene, to become a viral video. But some battles choose you. Some moments demand you stand up, speak out, use whatever power you have to bend the world toward fairness. The plane lifted off, climbing into the clear blue sky. Through the window, Naomi watched the city shrink below. Somewhere down there, Karen Hollis was probably crying, probably angry, probably calling her 100 terrible names. Maybe she'd learn from this. Maybe she wouldn't, but Maya Banks had a promotion. Had hope. Had proof that doing the right thing mattered, and thousands of people would see this video, share it, talk about it. Some would criticize Naomi for being too harsh. Others would say she wasn't harsh enough. But they'd all be talking. Thinking. Questioning their own assumptions. That was enough. That was how change started. One seat. One stand. One person refusing to accept anything less than the dignity they deserved. Naomi opened her tablet again, returned to her emails. She had an airline to run. A company to transform. A future to build where the color of your skin didn't determine the size of your dreams. The plane soared higher, carrying her toward that future. And for the first time in hours, Naomi Grant smiled a real smile. Not because she'd won, but because she'd fought. And sometimes, that's all justice asks of us, to fight, to speak, to stand, to never, ever back down.